everybody. Welcome to another week of Maker's Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampin' Blondie, and I'm excited to have you join me for another week of live step-by-step paper crafting. Now today I'm going to continue my Christmas crafting series, and we're going to work on two projects featuring the Peaceful Cabin bundle from our July through December mini catalog. Now let me just make sure that I am live here on Facebook so that I can follow along with your comments. If you're joining me this week, make sure to comment, say hi, let me know where you're joining from. It's always fun to see where everybody is joining me from each week. If you're watching this via replay here on my Facebook page or on my Stampin' Blondie YouTube channel, make sure comment, say that you were able to join me, let me know that you were able to watch via replay this week. Now to all my United States followers, I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving last week. I was able to spend some time with my husband, who invited two active duty airmen over to our house to enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with us. This is something that we like to do every year, especially for single airmen who this may have been their first Thanksgiving away from home. It's always fun to enjoy the fellowship that we have with them and just to get to know them a little bit better. So, hi Pam, thanks for joining. I'm glad to see that you are joining me from North Carolina today. Hopefully it's not too chilly there for you just yet. If you're watching me for the first time, I go live every Monday at 5 p.m. for what I like to call Maker's Monday. I'm coming to you from Tucson, Arizona, and I'm going to show you two projects today, step by step, for Christmas. Now these two projects are completely different from each other. Now last week I showed you a project that was more on the vintage side, which is definitely not my Stampin' style, but I wanted to try something outside of my comfort zone to show you guys that vintage project. Now I feel like it has sparked some creativity with me because this week I'm bringing you another vintage / masculine project. So we have two completely different projects for you featuring the Peaceful Cabin bundle from our July through December mini catalog. Now, can you believe that Christmas is only 27 days away? So now is the time to do your Christmas crafting before the main rush of the holiday season comes. If you do your Christmas cards now, then when Christmas time comes, it gets a little bit closer, you can enjoy the holiday season with your friends and family. So it looks like I'm live here. Hi Billy, hi Joan, hi Cindy, hi Kay. Looks like we've got a great crowd here today. So let's go ahead and jump into a couple of announcements that I have, and then we will jump into our two projects for today. So let me swap our camera. There we go, perfect. The first thing that I want to talk about is our January through June mini catalog. Now you may be saying, oh my gosh, January seems so far away, but January is literally right around the corner. But I have in my hand right now a copy of the January through June mini catalog and our upcoming celebration brochure. Now while I can't show you the inside of the catalog, I can show you the front, and look at this amazing windmill stamp set and dies that are coming. I am so excited. I have been to the Netherlands before, and I loved seeing all the windmills there and all the different tulips and flowers that they had as well. So I can't show you the inside, but like I said, I can show you the front of the catalog, and I can show you the back. So this shows how Stampin' Up! Designs their designer series paper. They have concept artists in-house that draw out our designer series paper from photos and then translate into our designer series paper. Now from here you can see that we have some tulips, some designer series paper, a die of some tulips, very, very pretty. And yes, Cindy, this is on my wish list too. Some great products. Now, Celebration. If you aren't too familiar with what Celebration is, this is Stampin' Up's biggest promotion that they now run 2 times a year. So from January 4th to February 28th is our first celebration, and then the second one will be later in the summer. But for every $50 you purchase, you get to choose a free item out of this catalog. And this time we have stamp sets and designer series paper to choose from. These are exclusive items just available during Celebration. Again, I can't show you the inside just yet, but I can show you the front and the back covers. Now, these catalogs will be coming to me in December. So if you are not, if you have not placed an order with me in the last 6 months and you want a copy of the catalog, there will be a link in the description of this video once I'm done that you can request your free copy. If you have placed an order with me in the last 6 months, you're already on my list, so no need to do anything else. But I have some sneak peeks of some fun products that are coming in the catalog. So these are the classic matte dots. If you have our Baker's Twine Essential Packs, these are the same colors that are in there. We have basic black, basic gray, very vanilla, and whisper white, or basic white now. The best thing about this is that the basic white can be colored with Stampin' blends to be whatever color you want for your project. And these are matte, so they're not going to be shiny on your projects. Great for masculine products as well. The brushed brass butterflies, say that fast 3 times. I think these are going to be a big hit. They are in 2 sizes. You have small and large. These are flat embellishments, so perfect for using on cards that you're going to mail. Now there are coordinating items to go along with this, but these are the brushed brass butterflies that are upcoming catalog. Oh, if you follow me, you know I love anything iridescent. So these are the iridescent basic jewels. So pretty. They're 3 different sizes here. You have small, medium, and large. And these are like some of our other gems that we have, but these are clear iridescent. So these will go with so many different items and for cards, scrapbooks, anything that you'd like. All right. I love embossing folders. It's the perfect way to get details on your project without a lot of technique. So I have 2 of the new embossing folders that are coming in the catalog. The Hive embossing folder, this is really fun. It's got that kind of hive look to it. I am looking forward to inking this up and doing some fun techniques with this one. And then our new gingham embossing folder, this is actually on the page with our Valentine's Day products. So there's a whole sweet talk suite, and this has the gingham embossing folder is on that page. So looking forward to creating with this. We're gonna skip over that for now. This is that Sweet Conversations from the Valentine's Day page I was just talking about. This actually comes in a bundle. So we have the Sweet Hearts dies and the Sweet Conversations stamp set. So this is really fun because it has the background shadow and the outline of the stamp, and it has a watercolor effect to it. These little hearts can all be die cut. You can make your own confetti and a shaker card, and this folds up to be a little cute little sweet note that you can send to somebody. So this is the Sweet Conversations stamp set and die. Now I wanted to give you guys a heads up. This will be my January class. So if you love this, this will be on the list for January as long as inventory cooperates. We'll just say that. All right, another one here. We have the Rainbow of Happiness stamp set. This is coordinating with the Brilliant Rainbow dies. Now, this also has a coordinating celebration item. So this is, what is this called? This is the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper, and it's free with a $50 item. So if you purchase the Rainbow of Happiness bundle, you can choose this item as your free celebration item. So Rainbow of Happiness, this is fun. It has the outline of the rainbow, plus these little sentiments that kind of curve with it, and then some really fun coordinating dies as well. I love everything bright and bold, so Rainbow of Happiness and this designer series paper was at the top of my list. All right, amazing silhouettes. This is a reverse stamp. So once you stamp, you'll get the outline of the image. The image on the inside is kind of the negative of the look. So it looks like it's been embossed and watercolored, and you don't have to do all of those steps to get this amazing look. Now this is a cling red rubber mount stamp, but it has these little dots to make it look like it has this watercolor effect to it. So it's not gonna be a completely filled in outline, it's just gonna give it that watercolor wash to the outside. All right, and the last one, this actually coordinates with a pack of designer series paper, 12 by 12. I didn't grab that one out, I forgot. But this is the $100 option for Celebration. So we have a $50 tier and then a $100 tier. This is the Friendly Hello stamp set, and the best part about this is that these stamped images here coordinate with the designer series paper. So you can kind of step up your designer series paper and stamp these images right onto it and make the paper pop even more. So this is a Celebration only item. This will be available January 4th through February 28th, and then the other items will be available starting January 4th. Now, as demonstrators, we get to pre-order starting tomorrow from the new catalog, so I'm really excited about getting some new products to be able to show you guys throughout the first half of 2022. So if you have not placed an order with me in the last 6 months and you want a copy of these catalogs, there'll be a link in the description of this video once I'm done that you can request your copy of the catalog. If you've placed an order with me in the last 6 months, including classes, so if you've attended a class as well, you're on my list to already receive a catalog. You don't need to fill anything else out. So easy peasy. The next reminder is Eden's Garden. I've gone over this the last couple weeks, but just a reminder, the Garden Gems and the Ever Eden 12 by 12 designer series paper. These are while supplies last. Now this comes in a collection. I brought out everything today so you guys can see it. The cotton paper, it's kind of like a little bit thicker than a tissue paper. It comes in soft succulent and evening evergreen. The Eden's Garden stamp set and Eden dies. These are a bundle that will be in the 22 January through June mini catalog. So these are a sneak peek of new items, but the designer series paper and the Garden Gems are only while supplies last. Now this entire collection here is $82, so you can get all of this together if you'd like. Or I talked about last week's ending tomorrow is our Start with Savings promotion. For $75, you can choose $125 worth of product, so you can get this whole Ever Eden collection plus more. So it is $75 for $125 worth of product. If you've had your eye on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you can get it for $75. And it has free shipping. Now the Start with Savings promotion is our starter kit. So you are becoming a demonstrator, but there's no requirement to sell, teach classes, host events, do Facebook Lives. You can simply become what I call a happy shopper and purchase items for yourself at the Stampin' Up! Discount. So if you have questions about the Start with Savings promotion, this ends tomorrow. So best deal that we have had, $75 for $125 worth of product. That's amazing. And you get to be on the best team ever, Stampin' Blondie. We have an amazing, amazing team. All right, so, oh, December 1st. Sorry, I thought tomorrow was December 1st. No, Wednesday. Yes, we can pre-order starting Wednesday, December 1st. Sorry about that. If you're a demonstrator and you're watching, it's December 1st. I thought tomorrow was December 1st. I apologize. All right, so each week I do something called Prize Patrol. All you have to do is share this video to be entered into my Prize Patrol. You're going to want to comment shared because sometimes Facebook and your security settings don't always let me know when somebody has shared. So make sure to share and then comment that you shared so that you can be entered. Last week, our Prize Patrol was a package of Cherry Cobbler 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Everybody could use Cherry Cobbler cardstock right now with creating for the holidays. So our winner for Prize Patrol from last week was Melissa B. Mitchell. So congratulations, Melissa. I have your address already. I will send this to you, and you are this week's Prize Patrol winner. So congratulations. Now, our Prize Patrol for this week is something that you may not know about. This is called Shimmery Crystal Effects, and I'm going to show you how to use it on one of our projects here today. This creates a glossy look on your projects, and you can either heat set it or let it air dry. But Shimmery Crystal Effects is really, really fun, and let me show you what it looks like. So our two projects that we're gonna create here today feature the Peaceful Cabin stamp set and bundle. We're gonna be using the bundle as well. So this is that masculine card that I was talking about, and we're gonna stamp directly onto the cork specialty paper. So the cork paper is in our July through December mini catalog, and it's really, really fun and easy to create this kind of rustic look. I saw this online from another demonstrator, and I loved the stamping on the cork, so I wanted to show you guys that as well. Now, here is what Shimmery Crystal Effects looks like. I hope you guys can see. Let me try to pick it up from the light, but it creates like a glossy look to the project, and we're gonna use it on the top of the cabin to make it kind of look snowy and icy. Now, this card is a fancy fold card. So it has not only, let me hold it so I don't drop it, not only one layer, but 2 and 3. So this is a tri-fold card, and it actually just uses an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of paper. Very simple, very easy to create, and it just stands up like a normal card, and you can mail it because it is not too bulky. All right, so first we are gonna work on this rustic card. Now this features the Peaceful Cabin stamp set, and this is found in our July through December mini catalog, and it's on page 36. Now there's a whole Peaceful Place suite. So there's designer series paper, there's sequins. Now unfortunately the sequins are on back order, but there's an embossing folder. This is the Timber 3D embossing folder. The snowy white velvet sheets, which you could use on our second card, but I don't have them, so I can't show them to you. But the Peaceful Cabin bundle is what we're going to be featuring today. It's on page 38 if you want to see the full stamp set, but there's a whole suite on page 36 and 37 of the mini catalog. All right, so the Peaceful Cabin stamp set is a cling mount stamp set, traditional red rubber, and our first card here today features an evening evergreen card base. Let me grab the right card packet. An evening evergreen card base, 5.5 by 8.5. Now I forgot to mention, if you are new, each week I have on my website, stampinblondie.com, a free project PDF. This has all the item names, item numbers, prices, and the dimensions at the bottom for the two projects that we're creating here today. So this free project PDF on my website, you can pair this with this video and create the projects that I'm going to make here today. So very quick and very easy. You can go and download that from my website, and it's the first post every Monday morning when I do Makers Monday. All right, let's get some of this out of the way. Peaceful Cabin, our cardstock evening evergreen 8.5 by 5.5. It is a traditional 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, cut and scored at 4 1/4. And we have a piece of early espresso cardstock, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. Like I said, all the details and the dimensions are on that project PDF. This is a piece of that cork specialty paper. It is a lot thinner than I thought it was gonna be, so it's very pliable. It's not stiff like a cork board would be. It does have those little indentations in it, which makes a perfect card for stamping on because it gives it that really fun rustic look. Now let me bring over my bucket of stuff we're gonna use here today. And I'm going to stamp my cabin with soft suede, and then we're gonna do some masking. If you aren't too familiar with what masking is, very, very simple. All you need is some Post-it notes, and you can easily do this fun technique. All right, soft suede for our cabin, and I'm just gonna stamp that kind of down towards the lower part of our cork. And we're gonna give that a little bit of time to dry. Now, look, when stamping on cork, it does take a little bit longer to dry. I would not suggest heat setting this because it could curl your cork even more, and I'm not too familiar with what heat and cork would do to each other. I don't know if it would warp the paper or what, but just kind of blowing on it would be perfect. All right, masking. So I've got these little small Post-it notes. What I'm gonna do is, you can see on my card here, I want my trees to be behind, to make it look like it's behind the cabin. Now this is actually one big stamp. So the trees are all one big. You could cut them if you want, but I like to keep my stamps the same as the way they came. So this actually is gonna stamp all 3 trees at the same time. Because we want this to be behind our cabin, we're gonna take some Post-it notes and just line those up where our cabin is. So just a couple of Post-it notes, and this is what is called masking. Basically, it just is gonna mask where we don't want the stamp to be. And we're just gonna put that right onto there. Now you could use washi tape, but I find Post-its are much easier. They come right off, they don't tear your paper, and it's a very, very simple and usually inexpensive thing that everybody has in their house. And if these are too big, if you have just the normal size Post-its, you can always cut them down. All right, we're gonna first stamp the 2, let's see, how did I do this here? Because I did them separate. So I'm gonna bring in a spare piece of paper, and I'm gonna put this down because we're gonna do a little stamp off. Now you can see I have my 2 big trees here and then my smaller tree, but if I was to stamp this normal, my 2 big trees would be over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stamp the 2 big trees on the right first, and then we're gonna ink up the smaller tree. So this is why I don't like to cut my stamps. Ink up the smaller one, and then we're gonna stamp over here with the smaller tree. And then all you do is you peel off, and it looks like your trees are in the background. Very simple, easy. You just wanna make sure you have a scrap piece of paper while you stamp that so that it doesn't get onto your workspace. All right, now we're gonna let that dry just a little bit, and while that's off to the side, we're gonna stamp our sentiment. So this is a great stamp set because not only does it have images, but it has sentiments too. And if you follow along with me each week, you know I love a stamp set that has images and sentiments along with it. So when I was designing this, I was like, well, there's a couple of sentiments that would work really well with this, but I think the thank you works great. We all need a thank you card this time of year. So we're gonna use soft suede ink on very vanilla cardstock. And I'm just gonna, this is a scratch piece of cardstock that I have. And we're going to use our double oval punch. Now this is found in our annual catalog, and it has a scalloped oval and regular size and all in one. So it's a perfect layering punch. You can see I used it here with the evening evergreen in the background and then our very vanilla on top. So we're gonna come in, like I said, this is just a scratch piece of cardstock, so I don't have any measurements or anything for this. So we've got our sentiment, and I always like to stamp first and then punch so that I can line it up right in the middle of my punch. And then our scallop evening evergreen. Again, just a scratch piece of evening evergreen cardstock. And I punched our background piece for our sentiment. Now I'm gonna use liquid glue on this. You can use tape runner, but it's a small little oval here, so I didn't want to use tape runner because it can kind of get sticky on the outside. But with enough of the liquid glue, you can really kind of move it exactly where you want it to if you don't have it exactly where you want it on your card. All right, this is a piece of designer series paper from the In Good Taste designer series paper pack. Now I have, this is what it looks like. This is actually a giant set of designer series paper. It is, so normally you get 12 sheets of 6 designs, dual-sided, but this one you get 24 different designs. And it's great because it has these like nice wood grain backgrounds, some fun tile designs. These are perfect for masculine projects. This is the In Good Taste designer series paper. This is from the annual catalog. And this is the paper that we are going to be using for the top of our card. The dimensions for this are on that PDF, but this is, let me see, this is 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our cork paper first. Now I'm gonna use Stampin' Seal for the back of this. And I wanna bring in my scrap paper just in case that's not fully dried. It's not gonna get on to my workspace then. So just a little bit of Stampin' Seal. And see, it's not fully dry, so I'm definitely glad I used a scrap paper. And then this is just gonna go down right here at the bottom of our paper. Now, if your ink smudges a little, it's okay. It gives it more of that rustic look. And then we're gonna layer that the In Good Taste designer series paper. We're gonna butt that right up against our piece of cork here. Now to cover that seam there, I'm gonna be using the Evening Evergreen Chevron Weave Ribbon. Chevron Weave Ribbon, kind of a mouthful. All right, this I'm just gonna drape over the front, and we're going to use scissors, and we're gonna adhere to the back with Scotch tape. I love this way to adhere ribbon down. You don't have to wait for anything to dry. And Scotch tape is the perfect adhesive for quick and easy crafting. So we're just gonna layer that ribbon over our seam where the two papers meet. And then on the back, we're going to take our tape and then glue that to the back. So right there. Quick, easy, and no wait time for it to dry. Now this we're going to adhere down to our Evening Evergreen card base, and I'm gonna use Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm gonna use dimensionals because of that tape, the ribbon. It's a little bulky. So I don't wanna glue it directly down to my card because then it is kind of uneven with that ribbon there. So Stampin' Dimensionals to the rescue, and that will ensure that it's not uneven when it's on our card here. Okay, and that's gonna go right in the middle there. Now I'm gonna come in with this chevron weave ribbon one more time, and I'm gonna take about a 6-inch piece, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a knot in it. So I'm gonna take my ribbon and thread it under perpendicular to our first piece, and then we're just going to tie a knot into it. Normally I do a bow, but because this is more of a masculine project, I just want a knot. And then I'm gonna trim the edges at an angle. Now this ribbon can fray pretty easily, so I definitely wanna make sure that my edges are cut at an angle. And then our sentiment is our last piece here. This will go on with dimensionals as well. 2 dimensionals are perfect there. And right there. So that's our first card featuring the Peaceful Cabin stamp set. And this is from our July through December mini catalog. So let me know what you guys think about this rustic look. It's very, very fun to stamp on this cork. It's soft and very malleable, as I showed you before I laid that down. And I'm sad because this is my last piece of cork that I have left. And I know it was back ordered for a while, but it's back in stock now. I checked yesterday just to make sure. So this is back in stock, the cork specialty paper, 12 by 12. You get 2 sheets and it's $7.50 in our July through December mini catalog. So let me know what you guys think about this card. Perfect masculine. Definitely a different Stampin' Blondie. There's no Wink of Stella, there's no rhinestones, there's no bling, but it's really fun with this cork down here at the bottom. All right, we'll put that off to the side. And now we're gonna make this really, really fun tri-fold card. Now, I had shown a couple of you guys this in person, so you may have seen this one, but it's a really, really fun project to create. All right, let's get the basket out of goodies here. And I actually have to go grab my die cut machine and a black ink pad. I cleaned my craft room extensively this weekend, like a whole day. It took me after retreat prep and class prep. It was a little crazy in here. So I took all day on Friday. Instead of Black Friday shopping, I cleaned my craft room. All right, so this tri-fold card, I will show you guys one more time how it tri-folds here. So first layer, second layer, third layer on the inside here. Now this features a piece of, now I already pre-cut some stuff to help with time, but this features a piece of basic black cardstock, our regular size of 8.5 by 5.5. So you don't need a special sized envelope or anything for this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in with our paper trimmer and make sure I'm in view for you guys to see. What we're gonna do is we're gonna measure in 1 inch from one side, and we're gonna use our paper trimmer to cut down to our score line. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna cut down to the 4 1/4 line, but we're not gonna cut that off. We need that to be we're creating our little flaps here. So this is our little part that we're gonna cut out right here. So at 1 inch, let me just make sure it's all lined up. And we're gonna go from our score line here and then cut straight up. So we have our first cut here. Now to make things simple, all I do is I flip it and I do the same thing. So that will ensure that everything is lined up. And then I'm gonna move my blade down to that score line and cut straight up again. So we have our 2 little, that's setting the scene for our first layer there. And now we're gonna come in and we're just gonna score using our bone folder. You definitely wanna use a bone folder for this because it will crisp up those lines that we have here. And make sure everything kind of lays flat as you work through the different scenes of the card. All right, our first thing is I've got a piece of designer series paper. Now this is the Peaceful Place designer series paper. This is on that same page in our mini catalog. This is a specialty designer series paper, meaning that one side has some silver foiling while the other side is just our basic black, white, and gray. So this features basic black, basic gray, smoky slate, and basic white. And if I kind of turn the paper, the ones that are in these columns here have the shimmer on them. So you guys can see it picking up from the light that these are a really, really pretty designer series paper. And I like this because you could really make the colors pop. Like if you did a real red cherry cobbler with these papers, it'll make those colors stand out even more. All right, so we have 2 pieces of designer series paper. These are going to be our little diagrams here on the front. Now I chose a different designer series paper for mine, but when I was cutting last night, I really liked these snowflakes, so we're gonna use the snowflakes instead. I'm using liquid glue on these because I wanna make sure that they line up perfectly. So with liquid glue, I have a little bit of give to work on so that if it's not lined up perfectly, then I can kind of shift and shimmy my paper around. All right, so we've got our first flaps here. Now this is gonna go, our second piece of designer series paper is gonna go on our front flap here. Now this is, what size is this one? This one is 3 1/4 by 4. And same thing with the liquid glue, just because I want to make sure it all lines up when I lay it down. Yes, I'm very sad to see this set going. I think I'm going to keep this one. This one is going to be, it's a retiring bundle, but I am going to be keeping this one in my stash because I like the cabin. I think it's very fun. All right, now we are going to lay our piece of cardstock here. Now I forgot to cut these here, so you can add more pieces of designer series paper. I just forgot to cut those, but this will go right here on the inside, and I'm gonna use tape runner on this once we have it stamped. I'm not gonna stamp it just yet or glue it down just yet, but this is gonna go behind this, and then you can add more embellishment there, but I forgot to cut those, so we're just gonna have a blank on the sides. All right, our little scene here. Now this is a piece of basic white cardstock, and it's cut to 5 1/4. So I want it to be cut the exact same size as our front here for our card. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stamp the cabin. Let me find the dies. Where did the dies go? We need those. There they are, under my embossing machine. Now the cabin dies, for this piece, the cabin actually is one long piece. So it's gonna cut the cabin and the snowbank at the exact same time. So there isn't just a die to cut out the cabin. Now if you wanted to, you could then fussy cut the bottom of this out here just to get that piece. But this is one long snowbank that we're going to cut. And I need to clean off my cabin stamp from my previous project. And we're gonna use Tuxedo Black Memento ink. So this is a all black and white card. Now you could use a pop of color in your ribbon or on the inside when you do your sentiment, but I found the black and white really just makes it stand out even more. Okay, so we got our cabin stamp here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ink this up with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and we're gonna stamp it right onto that piece of basic white that is cut for 5 1/2. And we're gonna stamp it, just wanna make sure I kind of get it in the right place. We're gonna stamp it right towards kind of the bottom, but not too far down because you still want some of that snowbank on there. Press really hard, and there is our black. And we're gonna take our piece of die here, and this is where you really need washi tape. See, this is why I don't clean my craft room, because I put everything away and then I need it during my Facebook Lives. So I'm just grabbing random washi tape. This happens to be blue stars from some 4th of July washi tape. That's okay. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just gonna go through the die machine. So we need to make sure this is all lined up, and then we're gonna washi tape this down. You definitely want to use washi tape when you use this die, because you don't want it to move when you run it through your machine. Now this is something that we can trim down a little because we don't need that big of a piece here. And then my die moved. So we're gonna make sure it's all lined up again. Push down our washi tape. And these do fit in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So that's what we're gonna use today. I love this little mini guy. He's so cute. And it's perfect for on-the-go crafting. So we've got our base plate, our plate number 2, and now we're gonna run this through the machine here. And it's gonna cut out the cabin and that whole snowbank scene. So there we go, with our die here. And then with washi tape, you just wanna be careful that you don't tear your paper. Now, as you can see, my die didn't go all the way to the end of my paper, and I can just use my scissors and trim that off. And that's gonna be our whole end scene here. Now our trees are, let me show you the back. The white trees are also the same thing. So we have that other half of our paper and our black Christmas trees here. Now this one is kind of the same thing, but we don't really care about the snowbank because it's gonna be behind our trees. So while we're still gonna stamp our trees, it doesn't matter if it cuts off the snowbank because it won't be seen. So we're gonna ink up using Tuxedo Black again, stamp our trees, and we kind of want them to be seen behind our cabin. So there's our tree. I may cut off the top of this one, that's okay. Washi tape again for this one, definitely needed to hold down that die in place, or when you run it through your machine, it's gonna shift and shimmy and then it's not gonna cut exactly where you need it. So washi tape there. Washi tape is a paper tape if you've never used it before, very easy. So there we go. And then we're gonna bring back in our mini embossing machine, get our cards out of the way. Our bottom layers here, our trees on top, our top plate on top, and then run it through. The crunching and cracking noises are normal. It's cutting through the paper. So if you have a machine and you're like, what's that noise? It's okay. It's supposed to be doing that. It's got to cut through the paper. It uses pressure to do that. And then we're just going to trim off our edges here. Same thing on this side. So now we have our cabin with our trees in the background there. And we're going to adhere this to our card base, and we're gonna use a mixture of Stampin' Dimensionals and also liquid glue. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add liquid glue to the back of our trees, just a thin layer right here at the bottom. And we're gonna glue that to the back of our cabin. And we just want to make sure that our edges are lined up with each other. So just a thin layer of glue there. So that'll glue our two pieces together. Now the back of that, we're going to glue down here to our card base, and we're going to add dimensionals. Now we're only going to put dimensionals on this half and this half. So all of this back here is open. And so I like to use, let me find them in here, because these are perfect for what we need them for. Let me grab them. I don't really use them very often, so they're at the bottom of my stash of dimensionals here. But black Stampin' Dimensionals, these are great because they're gonna blend right in with our card base. So it won't even look like there's a dimensional there. And then this, peel those off. And we're gonna make sure this bottom here is flush with the bottom of our card. So I'm going to do one side at a time just to make sure it's all lined up. And that is our first scene on the front. Now, of course, we're going to flip that over. Now, I've already pre-cut these just to make sure it's a little easier. These dies come with these tall trees here, and they have all these little holes in them, but they actually don't die cut any holes in the tree. So it's just it's a plain tree, but it has all the little holes in the middle. And so that makes it easier to kind of poke the pieces out if it gets stuck in the die. So I'm going to use a combination of liquid glue or glue dots depending on where I want to stick these in the back here. So this one here, I'm just going to kind of hold it in the back with my finger and see. Now this one I can use liquid glue. So I'm just going to do a little dot of liquid glue at the base of my tree here. And that's just going to go right there. So that'll poke out there. And you just kind of play with where you want to put these darker trees at. So I just want to make sure that they peek through. So I'm just going to hold it and kind of flip. And see, this one I can use liquid glue too because it's going to fit right in the middle there. So if you have a smaller space, you can use a glue dot too. But it looks like liquid glue is going to be my best option. And then the last one's just going to peek out. I want to go from the front to see what it looks like. So that's going to go right there. Lots of kind of flipping back and forth with these little black trees. And they're kind of tiny to work with. So if you drop them, they're a little hard to pick up. So some liquid glue. And that's going to go right there. And they're going to be kind of varying heights. So that's going to be the background part of that piece. All right, so then we have this last piece here to work with. This is going to be our ribbon. So I'm going to use 16 inches of the white crinkle seam binding ribbon. And 16 inches seems like a lot, but I just want to make sure that I have plenty enough to wrap around this section. So you will see, when you flip this up, you will see the ribbon on the inside, but that's okay. That's all right. Everybody will be in awe of how beautiful this card is, so they won't even realize that you can see the ribbon on the inside. So with our ribbon, we're just going to tie a bow. Now this seam binding ribbon, you can color it with Stampin' blends. You can use your blending brushes to change the color to be whatever you want to match your project. But I'm just going to keep it in its original white form here. I'm trying to find my other end to make this a little smaller. Where did it go? All right, well, it's going to be that big then, because I don't know where the other side of the tail is. All right. So then you can kind of twist the ribbon around to make the bow be in the middle, and you want to kind of push it towards the top there so it won't get caught on your trees as you move it around. Kind of push it more towards the top. And then our final inside piece here with our piece of basic white cardstock. Here's what the inside looked like. So we're going to use those two trees again with our Memento ink. Ink that up. And that's going to stamp right there on the side. And then our sentiment, like I said, the stamp set has some great sentiments. I liked the "May you enjoy the peace of this beautiful season" because it goes great with the kind of peaceful snowfall on the front. And this again is Tuxedo Black ink. And that's going to be stamped right. Sorry, I just need to bring it closer so I can see it. There we go. Sorry if that's off camera, but here's what that looked like. And then you can use tape runner. Stampin' Seal will work for this because we don't have to worry if it's not in the exact place. but that's gonna go right here behind our flap. So that's gonna be hidden right there, and then that. Now, the last bit I was telling you was that crystal effects, that shimmery crystal effects. This is our prize patrol for the week. So I'm gonna show you how easy this is to use. This is a liquid. It has shimmer to it. And all I like to do is apply a thin layer, and I kind of like, let me get up a little closer so you guys can see. I like to just kind of push it around with the tip of this. It's like a gel. It's like a shimmer gel kind of. So I'm just gonna do the top of the chimney, our top of our cabin here, and then you could put some down here, but I didn't want to do that because it could get just out of control if you're trying to hold it and then do crystal shimmer effects here. So I just did some on the top. Now this will need to air dry, or you can heat gun dry it, but this will just, I'll put this off to the side and this will dry. And then of course, the thicker that you do it, the longer it's gonna take to dry. So I like to do it very, very thin, but it kind of gives it a little glazy look to the top of the cabin. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you can add some embossing paste like I did here at the bottom, just to make it look like snow. So I just took my embossing paste and my palette knife and just kind of put a thin layer of embossing paste on there to make it look like there's a little bit of a snowbank. So hopefully you guys can see that on here. There's some texture with the there. All right, so let's bring in our two projects for today. We have our rustic cabin and then our snowfall cabin, featuring the Peaceful Cabin stamp set and bundle from our July through December mini catalog. Let me know what you guys think. Which one is your favorite? I love the rustic look of the one with the cork paper, but this surprise trifold card is definitely a fun project to gift to somebody as well. So let me know which one is your favorite for today. All right, thank you everybody for joining me for another week of Makers Monday. I hope you enjoyed our two projects that I featured today for Christmas. Now make sure to tune in next week as I continue with my last week of Christmas crafting. Now next week we're going to be doing some gift giving projects. Now we all love Christmas cards, but by the time next week I am moving on from Christmas cards and thinking about little treat packages and boxes that I can gift to others for the holiday season. So make sure to join me next week for Makers Monday as we continue on my Christmas crafting series, but with gift packaging and treat packages. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will see you next time. Bye!